Hey everyone, good to have you with us for another summertime game time. Matt Weiner here with the Hall of Famer, Isiah Thomas. Zeke, I've not seen you since the finals. How's your summer going?
Summer's going great, Matt. Family's doing well. How you doing, and how's your family?
Everybody is good. It's been very busy, but glad to get back to the business of basketball. We'll get into the Summer League from Vegas in a minute, but first, it's also the season of introductions with players making their first public appearances with their new teams. Monday, Carmelo Anthony made his public debut as a Laker, and Spencer Dinwiddie met the media for the first time as a Wizard, and talked about his new teammate, Bradley Beal.
Yeah, so obviously one of the best scorers in the league, one of the people that gets to the paint the easiest and most efficient in the league. And then I think, obviously everybody has certain styles. I think with mine, in terms of playmaking, like I typically am able to gash the defense before, kicking it out or throwing a lob or whatever it is. You look at the depth of our team, Pope, who can really shoot as a quick first step. You got Kuz, obviously, when attacking closeouts, he's going to be a monster. Rui, same thing, right? Super athletic, getting the lane off cuts and things, dunking on people. Gafford, lob threat. Trez, obviously a play finisher off the pocket pass and also, as a lob threat as well. So, you got them all there.
I'm coming in with a championship with my mind. I think we all know that, this is the one thing that I'm missing, right? This is the one thing that it keeps me up at night. It motivates me because I don't have it, and I want that experience. I want to experience, what it's like in going through the ups and downs of a championship season with a team, right? The turmoil and how we come together when those things not going right. The adversity, when adversity hit, how are we going to come together even tighter? How are we going to have each other's back? How are we going to support each other? Because the basketball part of it is going to take care of itself. We have the talent. We just got to put it all together.
You're 37. LeBron's going to turn 37 in December.
We don't care.
Dwight's up there. Trevor's up there. Mark Gasol's up there.
Don't care. We make our own narrative.
That's right. Age is just a number. But Carmelo Anthony is entering his 18th season, finally connected with another member of the Banana Boat crew, Zeke. What can Melo and the Lakers do for each other next season?
Matt, I think this will be one of those, possibly Cinderella stories. Carmelo's a guy that all the league really loves. I mean, all the players look up to him, they respect him, and they really do root for him. And if you remember when he was out of the league for a while and then came back and played well in Portland, all the players around the league were really happy for him. They were tweeting about him and everything else. And his situation, I think, will be very similar to Chris Paul's that we just witnessed in Phoenix, where all the players, will root for him and want him to do well. I think he's on a team with the Lakers that will compete, that will play hard. With their age, the thing is, can they stay healthy? Will they be a healthy basketball team? Davis, James, they've been injured the last couple of years. Can they stay healthy? But if they're healthy, they're one of the best teams going. And Westbrook coming back home to Los Angeles, again, that's Cinderella story also. So, the Lakers really have a great story going, and Carmelo could be the icing on the top.
And Melo did something last year as his game has evolved that the Lakers can use, and that's shoot the three. He had his second best three-point percentage season of his career, and the Lakers were in the bottom third in the league in that category. In Washington, Spencer Dinwiddie now paired up with Bradley Beal after signing a $3 year, $62 million contract as part of a convoluted 5-team trade. Obviously Russell Westbrook is more explosive, more dynamic, but there's an argument to be made that maybe Dinwiddie's a more natural fit with Bradley Beal. How do you think that pair matches up?
I think that's an accurate statement, in terms of, their skill set, and I remember when Spencer was with the Pistons and watching him work and how hard he really worked to get to the level where he's at, and then, being in Brooklyn, the way he played in Brooklyn. So you're looking at a guy who, every year has gotten better, every year has put in the work. He's extremely bright. As you listen to him talk about his team, he already understands what they can and can't do, how he's going to use different parts of his teammates. And, and Bill is one of those guys, from a scoring standpoint. We talked a lot about Steph Curry and how he led the league in scoring. But, Matt, I think you and I were working together a couple of nights when we were saying, hey, Bill is right there. And at the end of the year, it came down between Bill and Curry, and that's how great a scorer Bill is.
All right, news on the Mavericks front Monday, and it's kind of a big deal. In fact, it's the biggest deal ever for a rookie extension, a 5-year, $207 million deal for Luka Doncic, who became the first player to sign a designated rookie max extension. He was eligible for the top max when he was voted All-NBA first team for the second time. Mavs owner Mark Cuban, new head coach Jason Kidd, they were part of this large contingent that traveled to Slovenia to extend the offer to Doncic as if he needed convincing to accept the $207 million deal, but they wanted to make sure. The question now is, now what for the Mavs in terms of building around him?
I think he's such a unique player, Matt, that you have to find the right pieces to fit around him. The league hasn't seen a player quite like him in terms of his talent, in terms of do it all with the basketball, rebounding, and he controls the ball so much. Very similar to how James Harden did in Houston. And Houston came very close to getting to the finals, but they kept failing at the end. They got to the Western Conference Finals a couple of times, and they couldn't quite get over the hump. Luka will have that same impact in Dallas, and it'd be interesting to see over the next 2 or 3 years, can they put the right pieces around him, and can they get out of the Western Conference to get to the NBA Finals?
I'm not sure the Olympics have ever seen a player like Luka Doncic either. He was incredible for Slovenia. You have to keep in mind, Slovenia is a country of like 2 million people. For them to finish fourth in the Olympics against the players from all over the world in the NBA is just amazing. All right, Dave.
That we do.
What up, though? We get the people what they want.
We have more Summer League action. We have some big NFL news, but we start with the gold medal Team USA men's basketball team led by none other than Kevin Durant. They beat France in the gold medal game behind another Kevin Durant performance. Oh, by the way, he also signed a 4-year, $198 million extension with the Nets. Jalen, did anyone have a better weekend than Kevin Durant?
Not at all. And not just the weekend, Jacoby, these past few months. And let's go back to the beginning of the pandemic. This delayed the NBA season. Players went into the bubble, and ultimately the Lakers became the champions. This all became extra rest for one Kevin Durant, who got an opportunity to rehabilitate his torn Achilles and not rush himself back in any way, shape, or form. Take the longest time of any player returning from that injury to actually play in an NBA game. And what has that done? Wonders for his confidence and reestablish him as not only obviously an elite scorer, but one of the top couple of players we have in the league, regardless of how you are grading. And so for the Bucks to win the championship, they went through the Nets in the process. Yes, they were banged up. Harden was injured. Kyrie was out. But Giannis is the offseason's valedictorian. He's number one in the class, okay? The way he balled, he made his free throws, he got a signature block, he got a signature lob. He brought the Bucks their first championship since the early 70s. But the salutatorian of the summer, that's Kevin Durant. How he played in the playoffs, the turnaround jumper over the left shoulder. We know if his feet were a half size smaller, they probably would have eliminated the Bucks even being shorthanded. And then now to play the way he's played in the Olympics, how about he's the only guy in the history of Team USA basketball to average 20 points during one Olympic run. He averaged 20, dog.
He's also scored more than anybody else in the history of Team USA. And I just want to say real quick, when they lost to France, I said they would not lose another game and they would win the gold medal. There's a lot of doubters out there, but David Jacoby had their back the entire time. And it was because of what Kevin Durant mentioned the unmatched skill that they have, and specifically him. He had an amazing summer. I think in the wash of the Bucks championship, we forget just how good Kevin Durant was in the playoffs. But in regards to the Nets contract, I love this for the Brooklyn Nets because they secure him. Because if you remember, like, him, Harden, and Kyrie all could have left after a couple of years, but now you secure him for 4. Do you expect the other two, Harden and Kyrie, to also stay with Brooklyn long term?
I believe so, and it actually happened in reverse. That's why I brought up KD's injury, because that injury now led Kyrie to be the lead domino, because he was the one that actually signed with the Nets first, and then KD, and then they acquired James Harden. So now that KD has re-upped, you anticipate the other guys will do the same. And as you know, this is going to be great theater for the NBA for years to come.
Jalen, I'm going to do the media thing and completely overreact to like a couple good performances. I think this will be the year that Kevin Durant not only wins a gold medal, but also wins an NBA championship for Brooklyn. But we'll determine that in